Welcome back, everybody. Warm-ups on the board here. Again, if you're following along at home, make sure that you do this warm-up. Pause the video right now, do the warm-up, and then play it whenever you're ready to get the answers. All right. How did we do on this stuff? How are we feeling on this stuff? We feel okay?
Yeah.
Like, all right? Yeah? Right after this warm-up, I'm going to go through all of the rules, okay? All of the exponent rules, so we can kind of make a mental list for ourselves, or if you want, a physical list for yourselves of all of the exponent rules that we have. Because section 7.4 was the end of all of the exponent rules. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to stop and we're going to move on to something completely different whenever we're going to touch them again. I'm saying that we've learned them all at that point, okay? So, can somebody remind me, what's the rule for division? What's the rule for division? As long as they have the same basis, hey, what do we do with the exponents? We subtract them, right? So if I've got 5 to the 8 over 5 to the 6, that's quite simply 5 to the second power. 8 minus 6 is just 2. So it's 5 to the second power. What is 5 to the second power? 25. Always reduce down a number. All right, well, whatever like bases that I have, I'm just going to subtract those exponents. So for example, here I've got a to the 5th over a to the 3rd. Well, that would give me my a squared, and then I've got b to the 6th over b to the 7th. What happens with that?
It'd be b to the negative first.
Good, it'd be b to the negative first, and then what happens to it?
You have to make the fraction.
Right, remember, any negative exponents, this is one of those exponent rules, any negative exponent gets shipped to the denominator, gets put down into the denominator. So the a squared stays on the top because it's a positive exponent. Don't touch it. Remember, we always said positive is happy, leave where it is. Negative is unhappy, move it. So b to the positive first. Now, do I need to write a positive first power? No, I don't need to. So we can just write a squared over b for my answer. Questions on that one? Okay, let's take a look at the scientific notation one. Remember, I like to write it as a fraction, so 2.8 times 10 to the 11th divided by 4 times 10 to the 8th. Now, this one is unique in that, remember that I can take in scientific notation this and then that separately as division, right? Because it's all multiplied on the top, so I can divide them separately if I'd like to, which I'd like to. So let's take a look here. I've got 2.8 divided by 4, and that gets me 0.7. And then times 10 to the, what power?
Oh.
Third. 11 minus 8 is 3. Now, it says to write our answer in scientific notation. Well, remember that this is just, if I raise it to the third power, I move it 1, 2, 3, right? So that's just like saying 700. 0.7 times 10 to the third is just 700, which in other words is 7 times 10 to the second power. You know, I'm not really sure why they asked for the answer in scientific notation, because could you just write it as 700? Yeah. So remember that when we're working with scientific notation, we learned about scientific notation in section 7.2. When we learned about scientific notation, we didn't really know how to operate with it. We've been learning how to operate with it as we've learned the exponent rules. Remember, multiplication. Whoa, drifting off the wall. Multiplication, you multiply the numbers together, then multiply the powers of 10 together. Division, you divide the numbers together, and then you divide the powers of 10. Okay. All right, let's take a look at more examples here. Remember that for me, I am going to simplify inside as much as possible. What can I do on the inside of this fraction? Namely, right there. What can I do there? What's x squared over x? What's x squared over x? Oh, people, come on now. X squared over x to the first is x to the first. And then we've got it over y to the third, and now I'm going to raise that to the third power. Now, whenever I raise something to the third power, I just bring it in. I just distribute it in, right? Everybody gets the 3. So x to the third over y to the, what's the final power on y? What's the final power on y? Somebody tell me. What's that? 9. Good. 9. The final power on y is 9. How do we know that? Because if I take y to the third power to a power means we multiply. Power to a power means we multiply. So y to the 9. 3 times 3 is 9. All right. What do I have to do with a fraction when it's raised to a negative power?
Like flip it and then make the power positive.
Very good. I would say y to the third goes in the numerator, 2x goes into the denominator, and that becomes all raised to the fourth power. Now, is there anything I could do to simplify the inside? No. So then I raise everything to the fourth power. Okay, you get a fourth power, you get a fourth power, you get a fourth power. Everybody gets raised to the fourth power. So that's going to be y to the what? What's my power on y? 12. Same thing, we multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. And then I take 2 to the fourth power. That is not 8, people. 2 to the fourth power is not 8. 2 to the fourth power is 16. And then we've got x to the fourth. And that's my answer. And then we take x to the third over y squared. And again, flip it. That gives me y squared over x to the third, now to the positive fourth power. And we bring it in. That gives me y to the 8th over x to the 12th. Questions about that? Yikes, you guys are quiet and it's not making me very confident. Come on. Let's get out our homework and go over the homework, shall we? Page 449 to 450. Oh, no, sorry, wrong assignment. Page 471 to 472, 18 to 44 even. And I don't know if I have that pulled up here. I do not. Where is that homework assignment? No, let's get out of there. Is that on here? No, that's the practice. Oh, well, I'm just gonna take it here. Page 471. Chapter 7. Yikes, we're moving slow today. Come on. 4-7, there it is. All right. We got 18 to 44 evens. All right, I'm going to have you guys answer some questions for us. And then, yeah. Oh, there you go. Right in the back. All right. Number 18. No will today. Serenity, what did you get for 18? You didn't do it. Okay. Do it for me. What's the power on 5? Final power on 5. What is it? Why did you take 2? You're right. What did you do to get 2? Good. 4 minus 2 is 2, so it should be 5 to the second. And what's the final power on 3? 1. So it should be 5 to the second times 3 to the first, right? 5 to the second times 3 to the third, that's 25 times 3. Final answer on number 18 should be 75. 75. 5, or if you wanted to write it, 5 to the second times 3 to the first. Okay. Number 20, what'd you get for that one, Nate? What'd you get for that one?
I got 2.1 times 10 to the 14.
Well, Travis must have had the wrong problem written on his paper.
Oh, is that looking at 20 or 19?
I'm looking at 20.
I'm looking at 22. I got X. I got.
Is that a you?
All right,
Are you
we'll solve
serious?
it. We'll solve
Are
it.
you serious?
We'll solve it.
Okay, what happens to X?
Uh,
What's the power on X?
8.
That's 8 over 9.
Yeah.
So what's the final power on x?
-1.
Good. What's the final power on y?
I can't see that far. Is that Y and?
Whoa, people.
Z?
Wow, wow.
Need glasses.
You go over.
That's all it goes. That's all my Chrome will zoom in.
I can tell.
I hope so. Okay, so you got x to the -1. Oh, and then what? Y to the?
Oh. Would I just subtract by 1? So Y is third?
Yes. And then what I do with anything with z?
No.
No. So you got x to the -1 on top, and then it has to flip to the bottom, right? So final answer should be y to the third over x z. Y to the third over x times z. Man, I was just gonna let you guys like work on your practice test after this. No, I gotta do like an extra assignment in here.
I know how to do it.
Number 22. I'm just gonna do number 22 and 24 real quick because I know the scientific notation ones are a little weird. Number 22. I take 8.4 times 10 to the 9th. You know, let me just screen capture this in real quick. Let me bring this thing. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Sorry, whenever I capture something, it does that. I hear you. Okay, so let's take a look at 22. Remember, I like to write them vertically. You don't have to, but here's number 22. 8.4 times 10 to the 9th divided by 4 times 10 to the -5th. Remember that you take the numbers and divide them. We take 8.4 divided by 4, and I get 2.1 times 10 to the, and then 9 minus -5 is 14. Positive 14 power. That's number 22. Number 24, we got 2.1 times 10 to the 2nd, and then 8.4 times 10 to the 5th. All right, well, that gives me 2.1 over 8.4. That gives me 0.25. And then 2 minus 5 would give me a -3. Now, I like to write that in standard form and then put it back into scientific notation, just to see if I know what's going on. I'm going to go left 3 units. 1, 2, 3. So 0.123 zeros before the 2.5. So putting it back into scientific notation, that's 2.5 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, -4 power. So there's 24. Questions on the scientific notation ones? Again, in the end, you might have to take it out and then put it back into scientific notation. All right, let's keep it going. We had 24. I think I got to go to the next page. Got to zoom out like a ton. Hello? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There it is. Zooming back in. Let me just do this right off the bat. Everybody smile for the camera. I know, every time. Oh, okay. Number 26. What did you get for number 26, Liam? Oh, Liam didn't do something. What would you do for 26 then? Can we reduce 2/3 at all? I distribute the 4, right? Don't say multiply, say distribute. Because am I truly going to multiply 2 by 4? Should this in the end be 8 over 12? No, this should be 2 to the 4th over 3 to the 4th, which is 16. I'll just turn that into 6. 16 over 9 times 9, 81. Okay. Number 28. Alexis, what'd you get for 28?
I wasn't here Friday.
Oh, you weren't here. You get a free pass. Joey, what'd you get for 28?
Right, so I got 8 over 20, or 8 over 24.
A over 24?
Or no, a to the 24th power. Over.
How'd you get to the 24th?
No.
I don't know either. Let's simplify before we bring the 6
Wait,
in.
I think I got it. It's a to the 12
There we go. A to the 12.
to b to the negative 6.
Okay, I like that. But then, can I leave a negative exponent?
Oh no, then you have to put the negative on the bottom.
And that's my answer. Yeah. Number 30. Hannah, what do I do with the fraction raised to a negative exponent? Flip it. So this should be 7 over 1. Well, isn't 7 over, oh, sorry, positive 3 now. Isn't 7 over 1 just 7? So it really ends up being this, right? What'd you get for that? 343? That seems right. Pretty big number. Number 32, 8w to the 7th over 16, all raised to the negative 1 exponent. So, Mr. Schumbeck, what does that negative 1 exponent tell me to do? Flip it. So what should it look like? Good. Now, that's a good answer, but there's something else you could do. What is 16 over 8? 2. So we can write it as 2 over w to the 7th. There's 332. Questions about that? And here, let's do numbers 34. Let me get back to this. Oh, perfect. This will get me all the way through the end. Scootsy. Here. We go. Wow. No? Did it not go? Hello? Where'd you go? Hello? There it goes. All right. Okay, let's take a look at 34. Nevaeh, what did you get for 34? X to the 6th over x to the 5th. What would you get? Just x to the 1st. Good. See, it's not that hard. X to the 1st power or just x is fine with me. Number 36. Mackenzie.
I don't think you need to change it.
Exactly. This is a tricky problem. Because is there anything to simplify? No. There's no, you can't do this because those are not like bases. You can't do this because those are not like bases. There's no negative exponents. There's no zero exponents. This is actually simplified as it sits. Okay. Number 38, Berkeley.
For 38, I just got 1 to the 3rd power because the 5 and then the x2 both cancel out. So you just have the 3rd exponent.
Okay, be careful though. Be careful because I have to bring that in first before I cancel that out. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is actually going to end up being 5 to the 3rd x to the 6th over 5 to the 1st x to the 2nd. And then what we can do here, that's a 5 squared x to the 4th. Does that make sense? I think you canceled before you could have. So 25 x to the 4th should be my answer for 38. Does that make sense? Okay. Rosalie. What happens with this a to the 0? It goes away. And what happens with this a to the 1st over a to the 3rd? What does that become? Good. So this is going to be 3 over a to the 2nd power, right? And then this is all raised to the 3rd power. So that means that's going to get me 3 to the 3rd, which is 27 over a to the what? Good. And that's my answer for 40. No question today. Elena, what would I do with those powers? Okay, so what's negative 2 minus 3? Minus 3 would be negative 5. Negative 2 minus 3 would be negative 5. And then I raise it to the 2nd power. What does the power on b become? Nope. Would be positive, yeah. I'll make it positive in a second. But power to power, what do we do with those numbers? So negative 10. And now, what do we do with the negative exponent? It goes down into the, so b to the 10th in the bottom. 1 over b to the 10th. Yeah, Travis. Yeah. And last one here, number 44. Tyler. Yeah. What happens with my x squared? Yeah. What's going to be my power on y? Just simplify first before you bring in that negative 3. Yeah. See, it's so much easier if you just simplify. Because now what we have here is just y to the negative third, or 1 over y to the positive third. Does that make sense? Yikes, people. I am concerned for your well-being here. Oh my goodness.
If you get the same answer, you can simplify it first.
Yeah, you should. You should. People, I cannot stress it enough to do your homework. Yikes, you guys are scaring me. Okay? This quiz that we've got coming up here on Thursday is the first grade of the third 9 weeks. Yeah, remember, grades that come early on in the 9 weeks tend to stick for a while, right? Not many quizzes and tests at the beginning of the 9 weeks, so plan accordingly. I'm not trying to scare you, but I don't know. I hope we're all just like tired this morning, and we just had a lot to do this weekend. So I think we only have 15 minutes class yet. I want to get some time to work in case you have questions to ask me, because this is kind of a longer practice quiz. I mean, it's 34 questions. Take a look at it, do what you know. Hang on to it. Oh, sorry, I forgot to stop the video for folks at home. Yes.
So, how does this work?
How does this work?
How do you do it?
Hold on a minute. All right, let me stop the video and then we can